Thanks again, welcome to the next chapter. As promised, we're going to look a little bit more in depth in the liver from the perspective of TCM. The liver is considered an extremely important organ for the free-flowing potency of qi. Primarily it stores blood. It is the filtration system of blood, as we know. Blood is made from the spleen and stomach and is shui. The blood is then housed and stored at night time in the liver. The third most important thing is it's for a balanced emotional state. The liver controls that mood swing ability. It governs the digestive system in that it keeps everything flowing. So if we're getting any kind of distension after eating, we know that the liver is in disharmony. It governs the tendons. So if you're getting people with convulsions and spasms like meningitis or tetanus, cramps, tics, there is going to be a liver involvement. And the liver opens into the eyes. So the eyes themselves give you a good idea of how good the liver is operating. And it also manifests in the nails. So if you see transverse lines going across the nails, then it's more related to the spleen. But if you see these longitudinal lines or ridges, it's key signs that there could be physical trauma to the liver. So there could have been shock, fear, worry, some kind of bad illness as a child, or maybe some sort of toxicity affecting the function of the liver. Any sort of pain is going to cause stagnation in the body. The liver is going to be involved. It looks after the connective tissue. And when connective tissue gets inflamed, then the liver is on display. It becomes even wiry in its pulse. The person feels stiff. Sometimes the enzyme elastin is not working properly. Sports injuries are a classic. From poor warm-up, then the liver is going to be involved. Any kind of eye symptoms, heat, is going to manifest as red veins in the sclera of the eye, for example. Often with the liver, we got to decide, do we treat the ben or the bough, the roots or the branches? With the liver, you really want to try and go to the root cause, because it's such a big organ and it's big, heavy, clumsy, and you wouldn't pay anyone to do the job that it does. It's the chemical processing plant. Really has a heavy load. The liver is prone to generating a lot of heat, and the energy from that liver then is rising towards the head and the heart, to the stomach. So failure to not move forward in life can cause excess emotional stagnation, leading to a heat condition, which then could affect the heart or the stomach. Can cause a flaring up of fire. This idea that wood, one of the elements, is feeding the fire of the heart and causing a flare up of anger and hatred. You could use the kidney to treat the liver, to nourish it, to water it, to calm it down. And these kinds of things start to play a more important role when we look further and deeper into the aspects of TCM. Sprains, for example, of tissue are treated in the West using things like rest, ice, compression, elevation. This was used by physios and copied by osteos and chiropractics, but osteopaths really were using a kind of a hot-cold system to create an internal massage. Homeopaths are using arnica as a way of reducing any kind of rheumatic fever. And in acupuncture, we use distal or local reflex points, acupuncture points, to treat the injuries. Alcohol, sugar, lack of water, lack of good body condition is really what leads us to repetitive strain injuries, to sprains and strains. Allergenics in our diet: wheat, dairy, soy, peas, narcotics, drugs, monosodium MSG glutamate, aspartame, stimulants can actually affect our muscular system and the way it operates, and can affect our balancing mechanism, therefore making us more prone to sprains and strains, and our liver has to process this information. We know that too many cups of tea can lead to a deficiency of iron in the body. Pregnant women should definitely not be taking too much tea. Organic porridge is the favoured morning food because the spleen and stomach can process that correctly, preferably without sugar and preferably without milk. It's full of electrolytes. The kidneys can use these electrolytes, the spleen, the pancreas can harness the energy, and these kinds of things are, from a dietary perspective, all harmonize the organs, lessen your chances of injury, stress, dysfunction of the body. Quinoa, which is becoming increasingly popular as a dietary supplement with steamed vegetables, flaxseed oil with steamed vegetables, these things get the lymphatic system moving. Poor lymphatic output leads to tiredness, to chances of strain and muscle strain. These foods also help with calcium pumping. A lot of us have a calcium and magnesium issue in our body, and these problems can lead to repetitive strain, repetitive injury. Let's look at the spleen. Just a brief interlude with the spleen. The spleen really is the key organ for getting energy, especially energy from your food. It transports water, it governs the transportation of food around the body, it governs electrolytes to keep the water energized in your body. So if you're suffering with cellulite or sagging organs, then your spleen chi is poor. Bowel prolapse, uterine prolapse, prolapse of kidneys, uterus, rectum, all the spleen is involved. In the old days, the naturopaths would make women splash cold water onto their piles and into their hemorrhoids, into the rectum, to cause a sudden contraction of the hemorrhoids. Spleen damage is usually felt in the body by a sudden sense of dragging down in the pelvic floor. Usually that's the precursor of a prolapse about to happen. A person generally in their energy feels weighed down in life. A sense of bloatedness, heaviness. The spleen also controls blood. That means it keeps blood controlled within the blood vessels. So people prone to bruising are people who have a spleen deficiency. It dominates the four limbs. So if your legs are heavy, your arms are heavy, it could be that the spleen is not operating correctly. The spleen opens into the mouth and manifests on the lips. Look at the lustrousness of the lips. Spleen can be damaged very easily by bolting down your dinner and your lunch, just hammering it into your body. Sticky coating on the tongue is a classic sign of the spleen not being able to operate because either your diet's poor or that you're hammering the food into your body. Zinc and copper deficiencies in the metabolism cause a lack of taste. It means the spleen has not been nourished properly. Children, when they're coming out of a bad illness, a childhood illness, or a cough, or a cold, or a flu, or something, you tend to find their appetite suddenly increases. They get more healthy and start to vary their diet and eat all kinds of food. Alcoholics who've damaged their liver and their spleen and pancreas need a boost in zinc and copper to help them overcome their addictions. Spleen, again, as we mentioned, classically is very important in the hormone balance of women. It's considered a crucial organ, and we're now finding out that high levels of sugar are disrupting our endocrine system and causing all kinds of unusual reactions. So we will look at that in depth again going forward, and next time we meet we're going to be talking about the lungs and the kidneys. Take care, thank you once again.